Hey there, Lincoln here from bullacademy.org. Today I want to talk to you about why the rich pay less in taxes than you do, at least proportionally. But before we get to it, if you enjoy it, do me a big favor and like the video below, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and comment your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with me and let me know how you think about what's going on in our society and our tax system. Now let's talk about the 25 richest people in the country and how they pay less taxes than you do by percentages. ProPublica, a publication that does great research, obtained the tax returns of the 25 richest people in our country. That includes Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, right, Elon Musk. And what they learned was that they pay less taxes than most Americans. They pay less taxes than you and me and your mom and your dad and your sisters and your richest friend or whoever you aspire to be in life. How is that even possible? Well, foundational knowledge will tell you exactly how that's possible. And lucky for you, I'm here to share that with you because that's what we do on this channel, bullacademy.org. We learn how to invest and build long-lasting sustainable wealth by breaking down complex topics so that we can all understand how this whole system works, our taxes, our economics, our financial systems, so that we can all take advantage of the system that we all operate in. So now, let me tell you exactly why the wealthiest people in our country pay less taxes than you and me. It all has to do with buying and holding. It all has to do with owning assets, with our credit system, our debt system. So let me tell you what I always tell our viewers on this channel. The wealthy, they don't sell. They never sell. Selling is a sin. And the reason they don't sell is because they do not want income. The rest of us out here think that the most important thing to do is to increase our income, to have passive income there and passive income there. Is to climb the corporate ladder and increase our check sizes every month and become rich. Well, the wealthy don't want that. What they want is to acquire great assets and hold on to them as long as possible. Because all of their wealth is in those assets, right? Real estate, that's an asset. And when you buy it on leverage. You buy with somebody else's money, that's debt. You take out a mortgage. And over time, you acquire equity in that house, in that real estate property. And usually you do that by having renters in the house who pay off your mortgage for you. And they might give you a little bit of cash flow on the top so that you can use that money to buy more houses in the future. But mainly the point of buying real estate property is to rent it out and benefit from the appreciation of the value of that asset over time. So over the 30-year period of your mortgage, you build equity into that house so your mortgage is paid off. But over that same time, the value of that house is increasing because there's more people coming to the world and they need a house. There's more scarcity, so it's basic supply and demand. So over time, the value of real estate has gone up. And that has been a great median for building wealth in this country. So the rich, the wealthy in this country, they acquire a bunch of houses and they rent it out and they build a wealth on top of that. But then they also say, hey, I want to be a shareholder of our greatest companies, of the greatest companies out there. I don't want to trade it. I don't want to try to make 10% here and 20% there by day trading and swing trading, trying to get rich quick. I want to acquire these assets and just hold them. Because over the long period of time, their value will go up in price. Just like back in the early 2000s, Amazon's stock price was $17 per share. Just like Square, 5 years ago, its share price was about $10 per share. And now it's over $200 per share. Right? Facebook, Google, same thing. Apple, same thing. Any company that operates well over a long period of time has seen its value go up as long as it's been growing its revenues and growing its margins and becoming more sustainable in its business practices and established. And the greatest companies have been around for hundreds of years. AT&T, IBM, and many others. So the wealthy say, I will acquire this asset at this valuation when it's what I believe is low, believing that in the future it will increase its revenues and increase its margins and become more valuable. And of course, more people want to own it, and that will mean there's more demand and less supply. So the value of my shares will go up, right? That's why I always say we have to practice the bull mentality. The bull mentality is that we know what we invest in, we understand what we invest in, we believe in what we invest in, and we hold for the long term because that's how we build wealth in this country. That's how we give ourselves the greatest chance of success on the stock market. I don't just say that, I mean it. The wealthy believe it. They don't sell their shares. So why don't they sell their shares? Well, because if they sell it, they get income. And income gets taxed higher than capital gains, right? When you're holding on to an asset for years, you're building capital gains. The value of your asset, your capital assets are increasing. That means you have gains. And as long as you don't realize those gains, as long as you don't sell, you don't get taxed. But what our economic system sees is that you have an asset that has value. You hold 100 shares of Amazon and that's worth $300,000. So the bank will say, hey, you have a great asset over there and your credit score is pretty good. You want to keep holding that, don't sell it, but I will give you a loan if you need money to spend. So the bank sees you as a credit-worthy borrower. They can trust you with their money, so they'll give you money that you need to go spend on what you want. You can buy a nice car, you can use it to pay off your bills and buy a house and buy your office supplies and whatever you need. But you don't have to sell your asset because the bank will hold that asset as collateral. If you don't pay them back at the very low interest rate that they charge you, they can take away that asset as repayment for the debt that you don't pay. So long as you pay back your debt, you don't ever have to sell your shares in your assets. You don't have to sell your real estate. You don't have to sell your Amazon shares. You don't have to sell your SoFi shares. You just hold it and benefit from the appreciation of the value of that asset. That's what the wealthy do. They hold on to their assets because, one, they know appreciation is going to compound, and two, they know that if they sell, the taxman will come and ask for 30% of it because that's income within the first year. And after that, they want 20%. So why sell just to get income, to get cash, if I can borrow against the value of these assets and get the cash that I need and spend it on what I need to spend it on? So at this point, you might be wondering, hey Lincoln, if they're getting cash from the bank by borrowing that money, aren't they still being taxed? Oh man. If you haven't read this book yet, go read it. It's very important. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Whenever somebody asks me what they should learn, how they can learn to invest and build wealth, I always say start here. It's foundational. So the reason I laugh is that when I read this book for the first time a few years ago, I laughed. Because at first I was it's like when you don't understand how the system works, it's frustrating. That it seems that the rich keeps getting richer and the poor stays poor. But once you start to understand how the system works, it's eye-opening, but it's comical. So here's the answer to your question about whether or not the wealthy is getting taxed on that cash they're getting from the bank against the value of their assets. They're not. They don't get taxed on that. Why? Because it's not income. It's debt. We don't tax debt. Yeah, we don't tax debt. So if you go get a whole bunch of cash from a loan from the bank, that's not taxed because it's a liability. It's not income, it's not an asset, it's a liability. So the government says, hey, you don't get taxed on that. And the reason they say that is because they know that in order to build a better society, we need to reinvest. We need to invest into our systems. We need to invest in better housing, into businesses that produce goods and services, into better infrastructure and all that stuff, right? And all of that requires that we take on loans, business loans, mortgages, and student loans, so that we can learn and build and then reinvest into our society. That's the value of debt to our society, to our government. So they say, hey, thank you for taking out that debt. Thank you for reinvesting to our society. And thank you for building great houses, building great businesses, producing great services and products, and building better infrastructure. So they don't tax debt. So the wealthy say, I have all these great assets. I'm very trustworthy. I have an 800 plus credit score. I'm just going to hold on to my assets. I'll never sell them. I'll take them to the grave with me. I'll never sell my Amazon shares, my SoFi shares. I won't ever sell my real estate. I'm going to hold that house forever until I die. And then when I die, my kids get it. Never selling these assets. I'm going to hold them forever. I keep saying it. If you want to be wealthy, like the most wealthy people in our country, in our society, do what they do. Learn how they move. Buy and hold. And of course, they also build their own businesses. So that's another option, right? Build something of value. Solve problems for other people. And then hold on to that business for as long as you can. Or until you get a good buyout. And then reinvest that money into a better business. And keep moving. But if you're just investing in the stock market, the best way to build actual wealth, not just chasing cash, trying to get rich quick, and buy the fancy cars and whatever, go on fancy vacations and put on Instagram. Because when people you see on Instagram, they might look very happy, but they're struggling. They're chasing cash, and they're trying to show off all the cash that they have. But cash is for the poor. Cash is for the poor. The wealthy don't care about cash. They don't chase cash. They chase assets, and then they hold those assets for as long as they can. Because those assets are as good as cash to the bank. Because the bank sees that and says, hey, you, I like that asset. Here's a bunch of money to go use for whatever you want to use it on. And you won't get taxed on it. But if you don't pay me back at 2% a year interest, I'm going to take that asset from you. I'm going to take your Amazon shares. I'm going to take your house. I'm going to take your business from you. So all you have to do is just never default on that loan. Pay back your loan. Service your loan. You will never be taxed. And at worst, you'll get taxed at 1% because you barely make any money in income. Some of the richest people in our society pay 0 or 1%. Some even get child tax credits because they have kids and they qualify for the tax credit because they don't make any money in income. The most wealthy people in our society don't have any income. So when you see these CEOs of these big companies come out and say, oh, I'm only going to take $1 a year in salary because I care for my company, I care for our shareholders, I want to help the company however I can, and if that means only $1 a year, I'm going to do it. They don't care about it. That's not why they're doing it. They're doing it because they don't want to get income. They don't care about income. How they get paid is through shares, getting paid in stocks, right? Stock options, performance. So if they do well, their shares do well, they get paid in more shares. And that's more wealth because that's a bigger percentage of a great asset. So they have more of a great asset that is going to appreciate in value because they're never going to sell it. They'll hold it forever. So when you see Elon Musk buying all these huge houses and he has a house in every city, he's not buying that with cash. He's buying that with a loan against his Tesla shares. Same thing with Jack Dorsey. He's buying his stuff against his Twitter shares and his Square shares. Bezos, same thing. They don't have any cash because we get taxed on income. Our system is built for incentivizing business activity, and business requires debt, and so we don't tax debt. So the rich use that. I've already said this over and over. It's just people don't get it. That's how the system works. Stop chasing cash. Stop trying to day trade and swing trade, trying to get rich quick. You're getting taxed on all of that. But when you're poor and you're chasing cash, trying to time the market and all of that, and have 10 streams of income, you're going to stay poor. You have to find the best ways to build wealth, to build assets, to acquire assets. That's how you build actual wealth in this country. Patience, it takes time. So yeah, that's all I have to say on this. I have a lot more to say, but this video is going long enough, so let me just spare you, because I could talk about this all night, because there's so much you can say on this. There's whole videos that I have planned on this, and it's a very dense topic, but that's the basics of it. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do me a big favor and hit the like button below, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, comment your thoughts. Let me know how you feel about all of this, about the wealthy not paying more taxes, and whether you think it's fine or you think that it's bad and it's going to destroy our whole country. I would love to hear from you. I've had some discussions with more patrons at patreon.boacademy.org and our Discord channel, and we all have different ideas about what this means. And I would love to have you join the conversation. And you, of course, as a patron, you will be able to engage our Discord channel where we share knowledge and discuss the stock market in real time every day, share news and rumors so that we can all find new deals, do our own research, and then come back together, collaborate, and make better investment decisions together. That's the value of being a patron, of course, beyond supporting the channel so financially and keeping the channel going. So thanks to our great patrons out there. Thank you all for supporting the channel. And if you're not a patron yet, we'd love to have you over at patreon.boacademy.org. I'm Lincoln with boacademy.org. Thank you again and have a great day.